Welcome everyone to episode 57 of Thrashcast. This week I'm your host. So joining me are my usual cohorts, Billy and Jim. And how you guys doing tonight, guys?
Oh, good.
Great.
Awesome. So tonight we're going back to the Big Four, and we're going to discuss Anthrax's fifth album, Persistence of Time. It's funny, we haven't really covered a lot of Anthrax. This is only the second time we did something on the band, so I guess it was about due for another album. And I know everyone here likes this album, so we'll dig deep into that shortly. So before we start, we'll just give you some information about our podcast, Thrashcast, where you can find it. You can find us at our website, which is www.horrormetalsounds.com. You can go right here to YouTube. Just type in Thrashcast. It'll come up. We're easy to find in the algorithm. You can also find us on Rumble and Spotify. So there's plenty of places to find us. Our channel is really healthy these days. If you want to help us out, please like and subscribe and share the videos. We do appreciate it. The podcast is, going up and up, and we do appreciate all the likes, and the comments. Please keep them coming. We very much do appreciate all we get for the pod. So before we start with the proceedings with Anthrax, we'll start with our news items. And who wants to go first tonight?
I can go first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I only got one real news item, and that is, but I got a chance to review it. So the review will be coming out. It's for the new Onslaught, well, not really new, but the Onslaught Origins of Aggression album.
Right.
And It's coming out on Friday, May 23rd. And it's kind of really cool because what I like about this album is it's a re-record of some of the material from the first three albums, which for Onslaught is obviously the main meat of their catalog. One of my favorite bands all time. I know we all love them here on Thrashcast, but what's really cool about it is they had a chance to. I think the record company originally wanted them to do a re-record of all three albums, like one after another. But what I like about this is they're releasing it as a double CD, I think double LP release. And so the first disc or the first album is going to be all songs from the first three albums, all their main hits, some really good stuff, And then the second one is going to be a covers album of some of their favorite cover songs that they used in maybe rehearsals or prior to. I think some of them might have even been released on some EPs prior to their first album. So they do a lot of cool stuff, like some Dead Kennedy stuff, some Discharge. They do Holidays in the Sun by Sex Pistols, but then they do some really cool like War Pigs with Black Sabbath. And Free Wheel Burning by Judas Priest. And I got to admit, some of the stuff, the covers is really good. I'm not a big covers guy, but I really enjoyed listening to the covers. But I'm glad. And then the first album is all a mix of songs from the first three albums. What I like about that is they re-recorded them with the lineup today. And so it's what you will hear when they tour for it. So that's pretty cool. And it's just really cleaned up. I mean, I love the first three albums. Don't get me wrong. Love the sound, love the singers, loved every part of it. But just kind of bringing the production up a notch with these, in a way, I kind of wish now I would go back and because I've got this on order, I would definitely go back and buy the albums re-recorded. I think they should probably do them all in their entirety because they did such a great job on them, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. It's pretty cool stuff. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the first album more of a punk album? Because then they changed their style from punk to thrash.
Yes,
from the second album.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still a good crossover even on the first album. So it's kind of neat, but it's got Angels of Death, Power from Hell, Let There Be Death, Thrash Till the Death, In Search of Sanity. So, it's pretty neat how they did it. And I just think it's, but the ones they did from the first album on this, I think there's four or five, and they've got a real big thrash punch to them, so they're really thrashed it up quite a bit. So I just really like it. I know they're getting ready to go on a 2025 tour with this lineup they have, and I just think it's pretty cool. It's Nige Rocket is the original member there, the guitarist. So
Yeah.
he's kind of amassed a really good group of guys. I think most of them. I think there's the Nigel and Paul Hill was one of the, not an original, but from some of those albums. And then he's amassed a few more players in, I think, 2018 and 2019. So it's pretty cool. So anyways, something to look forward to. Their first albums, Power from Hell, then The Force, which is one of my favorite albums, and In Search of Sanity, which is amazing. So
How's the vocalist, Jim?
sorry?
How's the vocalist?
Oh, it's great.
You like him?
In Search of Sanity kind of changed a little bit back then because they had Steve Grimmett as the lead singer for that one album. And it was a little bit more power metal-ish. So it went from really good thrash crossover punk first album to a really good thrash album to more of a thrash, a little bit more power metal in the third album. But this guy covers it all. He's really, really good. So really exciting for everybody to hear that.
Cool. Okay. I wasn't really fond over the song In Search of Insanity. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. And in fact,
I agree.
A recent interview where he says, Nige says that they gained some fans, but like in Germany, they had lost a lot of fans off that were right into the heavier thrash. Right. And with that album, there was a lot of, even though Steve did a tremendous job on the vocals, because he's a great vocalist for Grim Reaper and that, he just didn't, they said he didn't fit the mix as much with what they wanted to do. And kind of, I think, I don't know, there was some pressure there with the record company or whatever. But anyways, still a great album. I mean, I love that album too, but it's really cool to hear these songs kind of recreated. It's pretty neat. And usually I'm kind of against this. So I went into it with an open mind, but usually I go into these kind of albums thinking, what are we getting here? So, and I have mixed feelings because I like muddy production on the old stuff because I always think if you're going to re-release an album, re-release the original with the newer one if you're recreating it, and go ahead and do it. So that way fans nowadays can hear both. And I think it's really important, to understand, like a lot of these bands like Motorhead, Slayer, Venom, all these bands that had the muddy production, Metallica in the first album or two, that was part of how it was back then. So, but anyways, really, really cool stuff. What I got that's new, what I picked up the new Leper Colony album.
Oh,
so, this is wicked. Those of the Morbid. This is their second album. It's a Grease kind of thrash death band. Really, really good. I find the first one's a little bit more deathy. This one's a little bit more thrashy, but wicked band. And Ken, I thought of you for the graphics.
Yeah, it's great. Love that cover.
The other one I picked up was more of a kind of going back to a little bit of not really hair metal, more like a Scorpions hard rock. But this, these guys here, Heat.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Future. This new album is amazing, and I gotta be honest with you, I really, really like these guys. I have a couple of their older stuff, but this could make my top 15 for kind of trying to mix up maybe a little bit my genres a bit. I like it that much. I've been playing it nonstop. And I picked up another Hell Ripper day. I'm kind of going after my catalog here. So the Affair of the Poisons. I mean, what can you say about Hell Ripper other than everything's awesome? So, but that's what I got this week, guys.
Cool. How about you, Billy?
So news items, a couple quick things. On the new album front, a band I absolutely love. I have from the very beginning to the latest album, Vicious Rumors, new album, Devil's
Yeah.
Asylum, killer new single out, Bloodbath. It's a monster. It's heavy. It's fast. It's really cool. I mean, in terms of original band members, there's not a lot left, right? I mean, it really is Jeff Thorpe, who's the OG guitarist and a main songwriter. The drummer Larry Howe has been around quite a while. Not OG, but he's put in his time. So yeah, I think it's worth checking out. I mean, uh, again, any album from the band, I think even the more modern stuff is
Yep.
some of my favorite. Right? There's an album called "Welcome to the Ball," I think it was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's my favorite, like of them all, right?
Cool.
Everyone likes the early stuff, but yeah, like it's really good. I got to see them live last year. They were fantastic live, like still full of energy, and for some of the older guys in the band, it's nice to see. So that was cool. A local announcement for Toronto fans. I'm pretty excited about this. Killer Dwarfs are doing kind of a one-off show, and it's at an amazing venue, right? The Phoenix. So that's Saturday, January 27th. Bought my ticket for that yesterday, and they're there with Sven Gali. So
Nice.
those who don't know the Killer Dwarfs, I mean, they were pretty big in the 80s. And I don't know, what would you guys call them? Traditional metal, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, kind of a bit of hair metal,
Hair
traditional
metal,
metal.
yeah.
Yeah.
They got lumped in the hair metal category, but I don't think they're hair metal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dirty
I think just
Weapons.
write some of the catchiest songs ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Dirty
great
Weapons
bands.
was wicked. I mean, I love their videos too.
Yeah,
When
they're
the guy
funny.
was in the box. Yeah.
I don't know if they're mainly big. Like, I don't know how successful they were outside of Canada, but
Well,
Yeah.
when they did their comeback with the album Start at One, they did that. They started that American tour, and they were gaining a lot of traction. But then they got into that bad car or truck or whatever, the crash,
yeah.
and then it kind of derailed the tour for a while because Russ was, I think it was Russ was the one that was hurt, if I remember
I
correctly.
don't remember.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That was actually before the pandemic. It was probably 2017. They were
Okay.
gaining a lot of traction.
2013.
2013. Okay,
Start
thanks.
at one, and then they had a live one after that. But I agree with that. I think that album was really good.
Yeah, Live at One. I liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like everything I think that they've done. So
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I
don't
like
have a
that
bad
one there,
album.
Method to the Madness. I love the
Yep.
cover of it. It's got what's his name there? He's the vampire guy.
Nosferatu.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah, if you're in the area, check that out. Tickets were pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
For such a nice venue. I think they were like $30 or something, but
Yeah. That's
don't
not bad.
quote me. Sorry?
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. Yeah. And again, I've said
And Billy, I saw Sven Gali twice last year on the same like night after night. They put on a really good show.
Okay.
They did some Motorhead covers and stuff like that.
If I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard a Sven Gali song in my life.
You probably
Really?
heard the slow song. There's a slow song there. I could sing it for you, but I won't. But it's their big hit. It was
Yeah, maybe I'd
power ballad.
recognize it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never owned an album. I never searched it, so I don't really have a view one way or the other.
And they had a new album out last year, Time Bomb, I think it is. And what's
Yeah,
really
last
cool
year.
on it, there's a cover of it's Triumph, Spellbound.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
Triumph has that album of covers coming out, or people doing their songs coming out, and I was kind of surprised they weren't on it because that Spellbound cover is really, really good by them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Varga on drums, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll check that out. We'll see what
Cool.
that's like. Looking forward to that. New single on the Sodom album, people should check out.
Good.
We talked about the first. This one's called Witch Hunter,
Yeah.
which of course is a tribute to the drummer who passed away. But yeah, another good track. Nothing new, like Sodom that hasn't changed the formula here. You'll recognize.
They don't need to.
for sure, but still cool to have new Sodom stuff. So
Absolutely.
keep your eye out. The album's called The Arsonist. And one last tour announcement. This would be pretty damn fun. September, October, full US tour. Sadly, we feel like Jim, no Canadian dates. But Cannibal Corpse and Municipal Waste with Fulci opening.
Oh, wow.
So I think that'd be pretty fun to have Municipal Waste and Cannibal Corpse in the same show.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Fulci would be awesome. Fulci's great.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's September and October for our American friends or Canadian friends who want to travel. Um, so in terms of what's fitting, I got two albums I'm excited about. I've been playing them pretty much relentlessly. My vinyl copies are still not here, sadly. But the first one's the band Siggin, so Siggin, and the album's called Helgen Combat. It was released about 3 weeks ago. I am 100% addicted to this album. It's beyond my top 10. I mean, if somebody said to me, what is it? Take Morbid Angel, Blessed of the Sick, and Altars of Madness,
Yeah.
and combine it with Megadeth, Rust in Peace,
Ooh.
Peace Sells. I mean, every album, every song is the most massive Megadeth riffs everywhere. So if you like those two Megadeth albums, everybody's raving about this album. You'll love it. The vocals fall more on the Morbid Angel side, but every single damn song is like a complete hook. Like they do an awesome job. They used to be pure death metal. They're a German band. So again, they're hard to, the spelling's funny, Siggin. But Jim, you'll fall in love with it instantly.
I just looked it up. I've
Megadeth fan
already
you are.
earmarked it. I see what is it? The Helgen Combat?
Yeah, Helgen
Yeah.
Combat. It came out a couple of weeks ago. It's
Nice.
getting rave reviews everywhere.
Cool.
And then the second album is by a band, Misfire. This is
Oh,
pure
yes.
school thrash, product of the environment. Also recently released, just old school thrash metal. I mean, you hear a lot of Bay influence, definitely Exodus. But you know what? I mean, it's not original, but it's executed incredibly well. The songs are really good, and it's a fun album. So those two albums is all I've been listening to for like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool. That's what I got.
Okay, cool. You know what you missed though, Billy? Sacrifice. The
What?
Sacrifice show finally got announced.
Oh yeah. I thought you were gonna say it actually.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it. I totally forgot, but yes, October 11th at the concert hall, Sacrifice. Apparently no opening act. It's just going to be Sacrifice as far as I know.
Cool.
Unless it changes, but that's what I've heard.
And for our friends out west in Canada, their Sacrifice is playing this Saturday.
That's right, BC.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
right.
That's a pretty cool it's like a mini festival. There's like 6 or 7 bands on it.
Oh yeah, the lineup is great. The
Yeah.
lineup's really great.
Yeah.
So
I was
that's a good thing.
contemplating going, but
Oh, that you were?
a few
Yeah.
things got in the way, so unfortunately I can't make it.
Fair enough. And then, so this is like a small little tidbit. I saw this today. Drummer Chris Contos of Forbidden has posted that the first new song and video is going to be called Divided by Zero. Apparently, it's on the way. They're saying it should be due shortly. I don't know if that means like next few days or next week, but that's exciting. Looking forward to hearing it. Hopefully, it's good. Sounds great. So they're all kind of pumped up for that. And then, so the only other thing that I have is that I saw on the weekend, I went to the obituary show here in Toronto. So 35 years of Cause of Death.
Yeah.
So it was a decent show, an hour long, too short in my mind. They sounded great. Tardy was amazing with the vocals. Like I thought he was brilliant. All the songs are great. They played all the songs up. So when they got to the Cut the Cross song, they got to the whole big pop. The audience went insane for that. I was with a buddy of mine, my buddy Roland, and he basically was headbanging the entire night. He was he was sore the next morning because he was so into that show. But it was a really good show. I won't really say much about the other 4 bands. I'm not really a fan of them. It was like Pest Control, Spirit World, Terror, and Nails.
I don't mind Nails.
You know what? They were kind of okay, but I was talking. I ended up was talking to my buddy and Jason of all people for quite a while. So I didn't even. So I totally like ignored Nails, to be honest. But from what I heard,
It
it
would
was
be cool
okay.
if they would stick a few Floridian, like, and have Cannibal Corpse, like, like stick a couple of death metal. Like, that's not even death metal. Like,
No,
I mean, what are they trying to do? Rope in like the younger crowd?
they did.
I
I
think
was
so, yeah.
telling I was telling Billy earlier that yeah, that the crowd was insane for the first four acts, and then as soon as they ended, half of that crowd disappeared. So there was a lot more room on the floor for Obituary, which I was a bit surprised because I thought, what, that's why
Yeah,
anyone wants to see this band? It's so weird. It was
especially
really
Cause
weird.
of Death. Cause of Death even
Exactly.
falls in my top 5 death metal albums of all time.
Oh hell yeah, yeah,
Like,
guaranteed. It's a true death metal classic for sure. I agree. So I was like, okay. It was weird. I thought it was a bit strange, but whatever. I mean, if that's what you gotta do to bring in the younger crowd, I don't know. Maybe.
And
Yeah.
Obituary does a lot of tours, like supporting, not
yes,
headlining, supporting young, like modern metal bands. Like I'm always surprised, but especially through the US, they're often a supporting act in new bands.
Well, I don't have a problem with with supporting the acts, but at least try and match up another death metal band or
yeah,
something that's kind of like
Yeah.
matches what you're getting with the main event. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like the hardcore people were loving Terror. That gained a huge audience. I thought it was all right, but after two songs, I was like, this is boring. It's boring as hell.
Spirit World's okay, and Nails is more. I would consider Nails even more of a hardcore punk.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
I mean, I have their latest album, but I'll be honest with you, I probably never listen to it anymore because it's just there's so much better stuff out there. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but
yeah. So it was
Obituary, oh, that would have been cool, man. Like,
yeah, it
man,
was a good
Cause of
show.
Death.
They closed the show with Slowly We Rot, which was great. That got a big pop.
Wicked.
I think they played one song from the new album,
Oh yeah, Dying of
and
Everything in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird they didn't actually play every song straight from the album like in order. So they actually did a couple songs and then went into a newer song. So it was
Oh,
interesting. They broke it up a little bit, but I just thought it was great, but it was way too short in my mind.
because last year they did World Demise,
Yes.
and then they had. So that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool because that's one of my. It's probably my. Man, it's so hard to rate Obituary albums, but that could even be my 1 and 1A. I mean, I love Slowly We Rot as well. But that,
Well, the first three, Jim,
yeah.
are amazing. The first three,
Oh,
you can't go wrong with it. But even their later stuff, Executioner song, like
love
even
it
stuff you
all.
did
Love it
later,
all. I mean, John's vocals are just so, man, you hear them, you know exactly what's going on, like, and it's just so, he's
oh,
still
John
got
was
the vocals.
amazing. John was awesome. Like he was on point. Like I was awesome. I had a really good time with that show. I just wish it was longer.
Yeah.
That was my
I could.
only.
My only complaint is I want them to stop playing Slowly Rerot as the finale. They've been doing that for the last like 20 some years.
Yeah,
Every single show, like it's always the same encore.
yeah, yeah. I don't.
I mean, it's a great
I
song. I love it. So it's
yeah,
nitpicking, but mix it up a little bit.
yeah. The song did get a big pop though from the
No,
audience.
I know.
It got a
Like
big pop.
everyone loves it, but it's
Yeah,
they do that song last for like the last 20 some years.
yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, and you've seen him so many times over the years, so yeah, that would make sense. It'd be a bit annoying.
Again,
But
minor complaint because everything's
yeah,
great. So I'd be
well,
happy to hear
it's
it 50
cool.
more times.
Yeah, it's probably true. You're right. You're probably true. But yeah, it was a good show. I had a really good time. I had a really good time there, despite the four acts that I didn't really like. But
Good.
it is what it is. What can you do?
And one
And
thing, yeah,
hearing
I'm
Chopped in
surprised.
Half must have been wicked.
What's that, Jim?
The song Chopped in Half. Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good. It's all good. What were you gonna say,
Wicked.
Billy?
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. When you were
No,
talking about the new Forbidden single, I
yeah.
thought you'd talk about the artwork. Like the band's been raving about that artwork on the single,
The
and how
thing,
apparently the artist took days to draw it.
yeah, it was all right. It was okay. I saw it, but I only really looked at it really quick. I actually
Yeah.
saw this news like not long before we started tonight. So
Oh, okay. Like
I
all the
just
band and all the members have posted it already.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I didn't see it until like later on, but I'll go back and look at it. From
take
what I
a
saw
look.
of it, it
They've
looked
all
okay.
been raving about this artist and the
Yeah,
artwork.
yeah, I saw it. I'll go back and take a look at it again. I
I thought
didn't
it was
mind it.
okay, but it was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I don't
It,
know.
Ken, did
yeah,
Obituary do Circle of the Tyrants?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, see, and that is, you know what? I got to admit, that's pretty cool too, because out of all the covers that on that album is phenomenal.
Jim, I thought it was the best song of the night for me.
Oh yeah, that
'Cause
is.
I'm
They do
a
such
Frost
a
fan.
good. They do such justice to that song.
You do, yeah, yeah. I'm a Frost fan, so when I heard
Yeah.
that, I go, these apes. My buddy at the show who was with me, he just lost it. He totally lost it when he played that song because he's a
Wicked.
huge Frost fan as well. So he was really into it.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's often the biggest hit of the night. Even
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
it's not in the encore, it's often the biggest hit.
I think it was. I
Yeah,
think the crowd was really into it. Like they totally dug it. I loved it.
Yeah.
But all the songs on the album were great. I mean, I thought
yeah.
they did justice to every song, in my mind.
I
They
mean,
never they sounded great.
yeah, I mean, Circle of the Tyrants may just be, and their version may just be like one of the best cover songs of all time.
Oh, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
It's
And
so damn good.
I thought they did a really good job on dying. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, chopped in half. Jim
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty
that's one of my favorite
live.
songs.
Yeah, and Cause of Death, the title track was really good. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there was one song up from this album that actually did not sound good live.
Yeah.
Like they took good care with it. So you can tell that it's not like they're just doing it as a cash grab. They were literally like they really wanted to play the song live, but the song's live, and they did.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Ken, I
Great.
assume the opening song was the usual Redneck Stomp, the instrumental.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it
you're right. Yeah,
always is.
yeah. So they didn't change that either, Billy. They stuck to the.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it was a good show. My only one complaint was just the other bands, in my mind. But
Or it should have been in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
like take one band out and give
Yeah.
them 90 minutes to play like the album, and then cuts from other albums. Like I would have loved it. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
Unless
would have loved to hear
John,
the song. What's that?
I don't know, maybe John can't do more than an hour with his voice and do
It
all
would be hard.
after night.
Well, he sounded great.
Oh,
Billy.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
He was awesome. He's phenomenal. I was so impressed with his vocals.
Yeah. But maybe if he does 90 minutes every night, it'll mess him up and he won't sound as good. I don't know. I'm trying to give them
Yeah.
the benefit of the doubt because I love them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what it maybe, but we've discussed this before. It seems to me
No, I
that with a
know.
lot of concerts lately, that's how it's been. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, the
Exactly.
show's over. Like Warbringer played an hour, and they should have easily played an hour and a half. I thought. For me,
I
personally.
think you guys are right in saying that if they're bringing some, I wouldn't consider those acts new metal, but they are metal core to some degree, and some of them are a bit more punky. Maybe they're trying to get. Obviously, they were getting a lot more young people. I don't know, maybe old people like
It
us.
was a younger crowd, Jim. It was a really
Yeah.
younger crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, there was old fogies like me there, but I mean, for the most part, it was a really young crowd.
Yeah.
I was just watching because I sat at the back. I was at the back of the auditorium where the doors are for the exit, and I was just watching people come and go, and they're all young. I
Yeah.
didn't really see any. I mean, a guy like Drew Masters, who we all know in the Toronto scene, 63, he was there, and it's like, I was talking to him about that, and he was like, yeah, like it's a really, really young crowd, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, right?
Yep.
All right, so we'll start before we get into Anthrax. I've got some questions for you guys, and we'll discuss that on the album for Persistence of Time. So this is a fairly obvious one because it was big when it came out when they appeared on Married with Children in the My Dinner with Anthrax. What did you guys think of it, Jim? We'll start with you.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, this is like hitting prime time, and you know what? Perfect timing, and I loved. It was so cool, and it had such a great. I love the next day where Al comes home and there's a guitar stuck in the wall, but just having the neighbor. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she comes over, she starts breaking things and just starts breaking everything when they're playing. I thought it was so cool. No, it was wicked. It kind of takes it takes thrash metal and kind of make one thing for Anthrax, and that this is a classic example. They made thrash metal so accessible to the masses. I mean, you had the album for State of Euphoria shown on an episode of Miami Vice when they gave this heavy metal guy some albums when he was in the hospital. I can't remember the episode. And then they were on Arsenio Hall for Sound of White Noise, which was really cool. And I think they got the time with Bush singing it, and it was actually a pretty good job. And and then the crossover into rap with Public Enemy. I always think they're always setting sort of the bar and kind of taking thrash metal into different directions. And I appreciate that as a fan because, I mean, that's what you got to do to hit those. And that's why they're so popular. Love it.
Yeah, it's great. What about you, Billy?
I guess I'm kind of neutral. Like I gotta admit, I never got that show. Like I never.
Okay.
I mean, I got it. Like I had cable, but I never thought the sense of humor was funny. Nothing to do with Anthrax. So I always hated that show. I don't know. Maybe who knows why, right? We're all different. So, but yeah, I knew they were on it. Like I only knew that years later. So I certainly wasn't watching it as it was happening. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, right? Anything that can get the music more in the public. And Ken, you probably know this, or Jim, but how does that story go, right? Like, so Anthrax management was trying to get them on some show for years, and they would never give them a chance. And then because they were doing that, the word spread. And so, this Married with Children called them and said, hey, you want to do this? But that's not what they really wanted to do. Like, what was the show they were trying to do?
I can't
Me neither.
remember. It was a different show.
Would it have been a horror show or something? Because I know they liked horror, no?
No, I don't think it was a horror show, Billy.
Okay.
I can't quite remember. I know that Scott had mentioned when they got this gig, he did say that I think he was kind of jealous because Tawny Katan was in the Whitesnake video, right?
Right.
He said, I think he said, he goes, well, Whitesnake got Tawny, but we got Bundy, so we got Kelly Bundy. So he made that comment. So I know when they did the episode, they were kind of starstruck. They were a little bit like, this is weird that we're on this show. But you're probably right, Billy. I don't know offhand.
Yeah, I listened to an interview with Scott just last week when I was prepping, and he talked about this show, and that's what they wanted to do. They were writing the show for years, and then this came because they were doing that.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and let you know.
Yeah. I kind of don't remember offhand.
Okay.
But I think it's a great episode. There's a lot of great lines in it. Joey, the colors after they eat the kind of the so-called chia pet, the meatloaf that's green, which is kind of funny. I liked it, and I like it when Bud turns around and says, "Why don't we play a game? I'll introduce myself. Give me a word that starts with the letter B." And then Dan Spitz goes, "Bite me." It's so great. Like, there's a lot of really good lines in it. I loved it. Well, I thought it was a great episode. And then, they play In My World and they just tear the whole Bundy house up, which is great.
Yeah, it was cool when they played the music. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if you only got a couple seconds of it, I mean, it wasn't on very long, but it's great. I don't know what other thrash band had had been able to get on a TV show like Anthrax. But
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The mystery meat. They ate
yeah,
Peg's mystery meat. Yeah.
yeah.
And then he was
But I
like,
think
the colors.
Julie, the colors, so great. It's so funny. All right, so we'll go on to question number two. A bit more of a serious question. So, how do you think Belladonna's vocals fared on his return to the band? Obviously, was the last album he did, and then he left. So he came back to worship music. Do you guys see any difference from this album, Persistence to Worship Music? Or I know we'll start with Billy on this one because I know Billy mentioned that he's a big fan. He likes worship music.
Yeah, no, I do. And Ken is I can't remember like his worship music is like who did wasn't there an album before worship music?
Yeah, we've come for you all, which they did with
Yeah.
John Bush.
That was John Bush too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was John Bush. Yeah, yeah.
So what, there's four John Bush?
Yeah. There's well, if also five if you include the covers album where they redid
Oh yeah.
their classic songs. So he did five albums.
Really? Like I'm totally out to lunch then. Okay. I didn't realize that he was on We've Come for Y'all. Okay, my bad.
Well, yeah. So what do you think? Do you think he did a good job on it, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if anyone watching here watched our previous Anthrax podcast where I think I was like, you guys love the band and I'm a pretty average fan at best, but I do love like Anthrax, like from Persistence of Time right up to the latest ex John Bush.
Okay.
But yeah, like I love worship music and what there was something after that too, right?
Yeah, there was For All Kings,
For all
Yeah, for all
kings, yeah.
kings, yeah. Like so,
the
I,
last
for
album.
some reason, I think that I've always felt that Joey didn't fit like pre-Persistence of Time, and there are a lot of reasons I didn't like those older albums. But
Sure.
here, I think like the more mature production suits his voice more, the more serious songwriting, the more mature songwriting, a little bit more darker. The band's not afraid to put a bit more melody in, and not everything has to be 100 miles an hour. So I think it
Yeah.
all gels and it all comes together. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Like
Okay.
I really the only Anthrax albums I ever listened to are the last two and Persistence of Time.
Okay. What about you, Jim?
Yeah, I think he fit in great. I think he returned to form. I like his voice. I think he's obviously the voice of Anthrax, and I love Joey's voice. I love the fact that they do so many like. I know their set list is getting kind of old, so everybody seems to complain about that. But I like the covers versions that they do because he's a really good classic rock singer as well.
That's right. That's right.
And I like classic rock, so I don't have a problem with him throwing in a Thin Lizzy cover or anything like that. But I mean, I thought Worship Music was a great album, and I only really, I mean, I liked We Come for You All, but Volume 8, I wasn't into, and even Stomp 442. I thought those two albums, maybe you could make a half decent album out of both of them. But I love Sound of White Noise. I think even in my top 10, I picked that as my ahead of this album because I liked it so much. But I got to admit, Bush is a great vocalist, but he's just not the voice of Anthrax. So I thought he came back, and I thought, I really hope this new album really Joey hits kind of, I hope it's a heavy thrash album and focuses on like good old fashioned thrash, and I really hope it suits his voice really, really well. And I'm sure it will.
Yeah. I'm hoping for the same, but you have to remember though, he wasn't originally scheduled to sing this worship music though.
No,
because remember it was the other idiot there, the other Dan Nelson, who was actually, they did record the whole album with his vocals.
Yeah.
But when he pulled that stunt on them and then they kicked him out, they didn't know what to do because they didn't want to put the album out with Dan on it because they hated his guts.
Yeah.
So that's when they decided last minute to call Joey to come in. And it wasn't even Scott's idea to call Joey. It was actually Frankie and Charlie's idea to give him. I think was Frankie was the one who said to Charlie, like, why don't we call Joey?
Yeah.
And then at that time, Joey was toiling because he had a solo project out in the 90s.
Yeah.
I liked the couple Belladonna albums that he put out. And he actually signed my albums for me personally. I wrote to him and he sent them to me and signed them. So he's a really nice guy. But it was kind of sad that he's doing Chief Bigway, singing like cover rock songs.
Yeah, Journey
when he should be
tunes.
fucking an Anthrax. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, come on, like what the hell? What's going on here?
But
So when they got him
doesn't
back,
he,
it was
yeah,
great.
doesn't he enjoy doing that though? I think he enjoys
He does,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's his side gig doing like arena rock cover songs, which his voice is actually suited for. So that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense. But I actually think he found his range more so. Like I like worship music, but I prefer all Kings. I think it's better. I think the music is obviously was written for him or around him.
Right.
It's a better seamless transition because when you listen to worship music, my only thought is it still kind of the songs are kind of structured to sound like Bush. Like Bush could sing those songs. So I like what they did with worship music. And hopefully, now that he's still in the band, the new album will be the same. I'm hoping to God that they work the music around his vocals. But I guess we'll see, right?
Cool.
But okay, so we'll move on to the third question. And so the band, this is kind of interesting because the band obviously wanted to move away from their thrash roots when they got to Persistence. It's noted that they wanted to dump all that and go into a bit of a different direction. So Persistence is the start of that. So what you get here is you get like a very darker approach with a lot of like deep lyrics, more mid-tempo songs. There's still lots of major chubs, but not as much as you would have got, say, on the previous albums. So in doing so, this kind of caused the friction with Joey. Do you think it was fair that they fired Joey, or do you think maybe they should have kept him? We'll go to you, Jim.
You know what? This was their problem. I think this is their top-selling album of all time.
Yes, it is.
So it was
That's
their
true.
most mainstream. Some of that you can chug to the fact that just prior to this, they had the I'm the Man EP and with the Public Enemy. So they were cross-genre jumping quite a bit leading up to this. So in between Among the Living and this, I think they were smart business people in making the push to make Anthrax a household name, but I really don't think they should have got rid of Joey. I think this album is not my favorite album, but I love this album, but it's not my favorite. My favorite's Among the Living. I love Spreading the Disease. I love Fistful of Metal. I like thrash. I like more punky stuff. Sound of White Noise for some reason was my second pick, and I love it because I love John Bush, and it was such a departure. And like you said, they wrote the album kind of around that. But I don't think they should have got rid of Joey. I think they should have soldiered on, and I think they should have. I really think he's the voice of Anthrax, and he's come back now. They got him back, so that's great. It's kind of like it's even keel now, so I'm happy for that as a fan, because I think maybe 2 out of the 4 Bush albums were good, and then the other 2 were I never listened to Stomp 442. I'll be honest. I own it. I own their whole catalog, but I don't think they should have got rid of him. I think maybe there was definitely like Keep It in the Family, and there's so many Blood, there's so many songs on this that are a little bit more like you said, mid-paced, and they kind of left their thrash roots a little bit behind. But I think that's what sold this album, was the fact, you could look at this as maybe the Black Album before the Black Album, their Black Album, I guess.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Jim.
But I like this better than the Black Album. So, it's still more thrashier than the Black Album and less commercial in my mind. But hey, it worked out for them. I just really think they should have maybe taken it. I would have loved what they would have came up with if they kept Joey there and how they would have soldiered forward. I would have liked to seen that. I think they would have had less duds than they kind of did, in my opinion, anyways.
Well, okay, so the official story goes that Scott was in the middle of a divorce from his first wife.
Yeah.
and he was at a point in his life where he was really down, and for whatever reasons, whenever he wanted to, so I guess they knew there was negativity from State of Euphoria for the goofiness.
Yeah.
So they wanted to write a serious record, and I guess Scott was in that headspace. So
Right.
when he started writing, and he started writing these serious lyrics, because all the lyrics are personal and serious in many ways. He he did say that he couldn't stand the idea of Joey singing those songs. They were very personal to him, and he just didn't see Joey as the front man singing them. So at the end of the day, that was the big riff. And then Frankie was also pissed because Frankie was, I guess, giving him song ideas, and they kept rejecting his. And so he piled on, and it was just like, okay, we're just going to dump you. And the sad thing is, this is the sad part of it, the whole story to me, is Scott didn't even have the guts to fire him himself. He called John Zazula, who then called up Joey and goes, "You're fired, dude." So it's kind of shitty. Like they really they did him dirty, I think. But
Yeah.
you know, but okay, Billy. So let's get your what's your take on all this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the background like you guys do, right? Like I'm more of a casual fan, but I do love this album. So, like I don't get it. Like, so I hear you tell the story. So then it had nothing to do with Joey not doing a good job singing.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
to me like it was a personal issue.
Mm.
yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, this is
Mhm.
the best vocals on any Anthrax album ever.
Okay.
Uh, and
Yeah.
like I posted this thing on my Instagram, and I had like over 25 people comment, and pretty much everyone agreed from all over the world that they love this album, right? Like, so I don't get it. Like, it's the best-selling album, so it's stupid to say somehow Joey failed. I know
Yeah.
it's commercial, but at the end of the day, the more commercial you get, the more important the vocalist is. Um, so I don't get it. Like, so I think he did an amazing job. It's the best thing. If they fired him, it's because it's a personal issue.
Right.
And as far as I know, everybody loves Joey.
Yeah.
I know everyone kind of agrees Sound of White Noise is decent, but
Yeah.
there's no disputing that Anthrax went from large venues to crappy
Yeah.
That's right.
clubs the
That's
minute
right.
John Bush kicked in, right?
It's
So it
true.
was a complete fail commercially from day one. So the only one who could come out of this thing with their head held high is Joey,
Yeah.
You're
right?
right.
The other guys are clowns. They almost failed and bankrupt the band.
It's very true. They even lost their label. They got kicked off
That's
their
right.
label
That
in the
makes no
mid '90s.
sense.
No, no, you're right. I always felt it was terrible that here's this guy Joey, he's singing cover bands, and yet he's singing for, like, I don't get it. I don't know. I've never understood the whole point of that, but
And why couldn't Joe, like everybody loved him. Like I
yeah,
know he did cover bands and I know he liked that, but put that aside.
yeah,
Like, why couldn't he come out with a solo record and do his own thrash record? I
he
could
did.
guarantee you almost every Anthrax fan would have bought it.
He did. He had put
Yeah.
out two records.
And they
He put
were
out
like thrash like that.
They're thrash, yeah.
Yep.
They're thrash. The first album, Belladonna, titled Belladonna, is pretty good.
Yeah.
The second album, Spells of Fear, is all right. The first album was really good. The trouble is the band that he had, they were decent, but I don't think Joey was a great songwriter. So because he wrote all the lyrics to the songs. But the first album I like, Belladonna,
Same
it's
here.
good.
But
Yeah,
would
yeah.
I like it?
Yeah.
I think you might like it. I mean, it's
Okay.
Hard to find.
yeah. The only thing is, yeah, it's hard to find. I got it on CD, but
Same with
yeah,
me.
and I have Spells of Fear on CD too, but they're very very hard. They're very limited to find now, but yeah, I think you can go on to like Spotify or YouTube, Billy, and you can sample
Okay,
them.
I'll check it out. Like I said, I'm no Anthrax expert, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys know far more about this band than I do.
yeah, give them a go, because you might actually. I think it was a good start.
So do
I
I.
don't think he had the personnel. The people that he had around him were okay musicians, but you don't got Dan Spitz on lead here, and you don't got Frankie Bello on bass and
Yeah.
Scott. So you don't have a really good band around you to make the song sound good. That would be my only complaint.
And also, I don't think he got a lot of love from, it didn't get a push from the record company. And remember, it was in the 90s as well. So,
That's right.
That was
Oh,
hurting.
yeah, okay.
That was hurting like a solo artist. Like typically, if it would have been 1988, after if everything was moved a few years earlier, it would have probably hit a lot more of the mark. Yeah. But
Yeah.
great albums. The second
Yep.
one's not as good as the first
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have the third one. The third one is actually a very limited. He actually sent it to me because I wrote to him and we talked and had a bunch of
Which
conversations.
one's the one where he's got the headdress, the native headdress?
That's the first album,
First
Belladonna.
album, yeah, that's wicked. And then the other one's got kind
House of Fears got him in a like art. It's art like him kind of screaming.
Yeah.
Close. And then there's 03, which is the album that came out last that hardly anyone has.
Yeah,
I have a copy because
hear that one.
The only reason why I have a copy of 03 is because he sent it to me.
Cool.
Like he was really like he was a really nice guy because I wrote to him and said I'm a huge Anthrax fan. I loved your stuff, and yeah, and he signed all the CDs and actually sent me a copy of that. Like I didn't even ask for it; he sent it to me.
Cool.
So I was like, okay, great.
Is Joey's background Aboriginal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can see that, I guess. Yeah.
He's part. It's Italian and Aboriginal. I think the Aboriginal comes from his mom's side of the family.
Okay.
As far as I know.
mean, the name you get Italian, I guess.
Yeah. So I think his dad's Italian and his mom's. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I remember correctly. But that's why Indians was such a big song for him because it was part of his heritage, right?
Yeah, he was Iroquois.
Iroquois.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I know.
Italian American and Iroquois. You're right, Ken.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right, so we'll go to a fun question because this is interesting, and these are kind of fun to do. So Persistence got nominated for a Grammy in the Best Metal Performance in 1991. However, Metallica beats them out with the song from Queen, "Stone Cold Crazy." Do you guys think that was fair?
No.
No.
Sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but I think that's bullshit.
Go for it, Jim.
Stone Cold Crazy is a great song, but it's a cover. Like, come on. This is, like, how the hell? And that would have came off of the Garage Days?
Yeah, not revisit. No, I don't think it was revisited, was it?
No, it was. Oh wait, I think it was a B-side to something off the Black album. Yeah,
right. A B-side, yeah.
Yeah, and I have all the cassette singles, and I always liked that song. But come on, that's like saying my favorite Metallica song is "Am I Evil?" Like, come on. I mean, I got to admit, when I first heard the re-release of Kill 'Em All back in, I think, 87 or 86, when they added Blitzkrieg and Kill 'Em and Am I Evil, I thought they were Metallica songs. I didn't know who Budgie or Diamond
I had the same opinion. Same here. I didn't know it was a cover song either.
But no, that's a ripoff.
Yeah. Okay.
They got ripped. That's
what about you, Billy? Billy?
I don't know. I mean, well, at the end of the day, I mean, the Grammys have no concept of the metal category.
That's true.
And if anything, Metallica deserved to knock out Anthrax just for them being so royally screwed with Jethro Tull stealing their award in the original metal category. I mean, the biggest metal band in the world should have had that Grammy award. So as far as I'm concerned, Metallica can get every year's award just to make up for the biggest mistake in Grammy history.
I agree with you. When I watched that Grammy, and I wasn't really a fan of the Grammys, but I knew Metallica, and everyone loves Justice. When they lost to Jethro Tull and Crest of a Knave, I was like, what? What is happening here?
Yeah, isn't there a history of the Grammys, though, like for the best metal category or song or whatever they do? There's always it seems like they're always picking a cover from year to year. There's always a cover in there. Like,
yeah.
The Academy are no metal fans in there who are voting. Yeah. So covers are helpful to them because they know those songs from like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's true.
The funny thing is the Canadian Junos do a decent job.
Yeah.
Like for our American friends, the Juno is the same thing as the Grammy. But every year, the winner, not every year, but at least, 2 out of every 3 years, probably the best Canadian metal record tends to win.
Yeah.
So they're much better at it there. I guess they have some metal people picking it there.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. I think that makes sense. It's usually pretty good.
And isn't it true that because you always see a nomination time, like Spirit World was nominated for a Grammy. and you get all these votes, or the bands are showing like, hey, we're going to try to get nominated for a Grammy. What do you mean try? Like, like you either get nominated or you don't. I get the feeling there's money changing hands to get like thought like you maybe they narrow it, like take 50 bands, narrow it down to 20, narrow it down to 10, and I don't know, it just seems weird because you always see around Grammy time that, hey, I don't know, Exodus, the new album Persona non grata is going to be looked at possibly for a Grammy, and it's like, what? Like, I don't know.
It's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's usually
yeah, that's a fraud too, dude. That's
the Music Hall of Fame. That's about it.
Not even.
Yeah.
Not even. It's crazy.
I mean, how can you not have Iron Maiden in there? Like,
I know.
But they put Dolly Parton in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What does that got to do with rock music, though?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Like, I don't get it. I don't. We'll never figure out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Like, I think Snoop Dogg is in there, and like all rap
Eminem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Beyonce.
No Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy's never been in there or nominated.
I know, and that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy should be in there.
Oh,
And they wouldn't even give Judas Priest a full award. They gave him like a special, like I forget what they called it, but like, like you've been around forever award. So here you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a real award.
Billy, it's like a participation award.
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, here you go, participation. Like,
Yeah.
Give me a break. So stupid. Oh, well.
Yeah.
We could go on for hours about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We could do a whole show on that.
We could technically do it. You're right about that. Total. All right, so we'll move into the other question I had about the cover art. Now, this was done by Don Brodingham, who did the previous two albums. Don's a really good artist. I love this album. A lot of people like this album cover quite a bit because it has like aesthetic nods to the Twilight Zone. If you remember the opening titles for the Twilight Zone, there was that rendering of the numbers and the clocks, and it sort of kind of reflects here. It's kind of also a Salvador Dali feel to it for me. Yeah. I like this cover a lot. Billy, do you have the vinyl with the re-release vinyl?
Yeah, here.
I know
that's actually the only one I have on vinyl.
Yeah, that's like a Salvador Dali.
Yeah, they rejigged the cover a little bit.
This came out in 2020.
Right. Yeah, I don't have that album, but the 2020 version.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I like it. So what do you guys think, Billy? You like this cover a lot? Or?
Yeah, I think it kind of suits the darker music. I like it. And like, I'm no lyrical expert, but from some of my interpretation, some of this is about, the passage of time and mortality. And so I kind of get that when I look at it. And I kind of like that Salvador Dali melting clock because it's been like another 30 or 40 years later or 30 years later. So yeah, I think it's cool. I love that album cover. I think it's the best Anthrax album cover in my opinion.
Okay. What about you, Jim?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I saw this tour. I saw them open for Iron Maiden.
Yeah, same here.
No Prayer for the Road. And I got to be honest, they had that big clock set up with the hands going crazy with Scotty playing all over it. It was so cool. I think I like Spreading the Disease. I still like Fistful of Metal. I mean, I love that Bonsai Records Megaforce original with the fist coming out of that. I love that. But I like I think my favorite Anthrax art is Among the Living. I think that's just so cool. Yeah, but this is an amazing album cover too. I mean, I like this album cover. It's wicked.
And sorry, Ken, if I missed it, but is it the same artist who did both versions, or it's two different guys?
No, it's same artist.
Oh, it is the same guy. Okay.
Yeah, it's Don Brodingham. So.
My Siri is answering the question.
I heard yes.
Oh.
I heard yes.
It basically said I didn't quite get that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that'll wrap up the questions. Before we start, I'll just give a little bit of an intro for this album specifically because it is studio album number 5. As I mentioned, the lyrics are darker, and they did introduce a bit more progressive approach to the style of writing. So they reduced the fast tempos and the aggression somewhat. They had this. This is interesting, though. They did have a studio fire when recording this album, and lost apparently like over 100 grand of their gear and equipment, which really sucks. So they had to move to another studio and then complete the recording of the album. It is their highest charting, so it went to number 24 on the Billboard 200 charts, and it also went gold. So that's cool. And as we mentioned earlier, they had the appearance on Married with Children, the the Grammy nomination later on. Was, as we were talking, the last album that Joey did with the band until his return briefly in 2005 for the reunion. And he left again because it was all about money. They didn't want to pay him anything. They practically wanted to, leave him as a poor vocalist. So he didn't stay with the band. So he finally came back in 2011 to record worship music. And then, of course, on this album, we had some singles. So we got got the Time, In My World, and Belly of the Beast were the singles on this album. So we'll start with the first song on the album, which is Time. And Billy, why don't you start us off with Time?
Yeah, I like it. And so a few things hit me, right? Like I mean, let's say before I bought this album, I wasn't a big fan of any of the Anthrax albums. So a few things struck me, right? The production is awesome. I love it. Like that thin production of the previous Anthrax albums was out the window. So that hits me right away. But yeah, it's great. Like it opens with the clock ticking, so it kind of ties the story together. I love that crunching guitar in this song and the drumming, and right away I get the darker feel, and I'm happy because it's less upbeat, less jokey versus the old Anthrax. Like, and this will apply to all the songs, right? Like one of my biggest issues with Anthrax is the overuse of backing vocals, and they often overpower Joey. Here, they're all done like with great taste, and they're not meant to be like, it's not someone's trying to outdo him. Like it's just value add to the song. So I think that's really cool. I said it before, like I love Joey's voice on this. I love it on all these albums. Like I just think that the slower pace more suits his expressive voice, right? And for someone who does like Journey cover bands, like he knows how to sing that way. So I just find his voice so rich and appealing on these songs, right? It's just a big part of why I love this album. I mean, like all the songs, great bass chug. Like at 425, I love it when Joey says go, and then we enter their like killer solo on this thing, and like solos, even though the songs are longer, like this is 7, then this is 7. Like the solos are not all over the place, right? You're not getting like 50 solos in a song, but when they're there, they're done incredibly well. They're very expressive. They're perfect for the song. So yeah, this is one of my favorite solos here. I like the way it speeds up into the end. It's just a great song. Like it represents the new Anthrax sound. So yeah, I was a big fan.
Cool. And what about you, Jim?
Just one quick factoid to cement my love for Sown is that went gold as well. But I think Sown went gold based on the how well this album did. People just went in and probably bought it, but then it wasn't as popular as it was. But that's just my side factoid. No, this song's wicked, great. I love the ticking leads into that heavy riff. Everything Billy said. I think it's got a really good thrash groove, but I like his vocals in this. I agree with Billy, maybe a bit more slower, a little bit more down-tuned a little bit in the sense that he's singing in a little bit of a lower register. When he's paranoia, it's pretty cool. Definitely a darker vibe. And I have to agree, coming from State of Euphoria then to this, it was nice to have, and then having that EP in there, it's nice to have a bit more of a serious mode with Anthrax with this. And I think that's pretty cool. But, and something you said earlier, Ken, is that they wanted to kind of drop a little bit of that, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they sort of pushed Joey. But I mean, I think all of them were kind of involved in sort of the jokey end of it to some degree, because they all seem to, live, and then when you see videos and the live shows, they all take part. It's not like, it seemed like just the theme of those albums. But I like this darker sound, and going into the 90s, I really would have liked to seen where they would have went with Joey's vocals with something like this.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I often think, though, when you're comparing that to, say, Sound of White Noise, I always wanted to hear Joey sing that, because I think the songs, I think it would be better with him. Personally, I would rather take him over John Bush any day of the week. But
that's a good point, because if he's more of a rock singer, like more of an arena rock singer, that album wasn't thrash. It wasn't thrashy. So it probably would have suited his voice quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I think. But
yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, everything you guys said is dead on with the song itself. And this is where you start getting like very serious lyrics, because they're talking about, the passage of time and how it affects the way one thinks. So like, time moves forward, it doesn't stop. Time is a force. And then you need to accept the fact that it's not going to stop. So I like it. They're waxing poetic a little bit here, but it works. It works for me. And the song is solid. Lots of nice chugs all the way through. I like the song quite a bit myself.
I still can't believe this album only went gold. Like, that sucks.
I know.
100,000 copies. Like, I'm looking it up. Like, I'm pretty sure Rain and Blood ended up doing almost 1 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anthrax, I mean, at this time, you would have had like Metallica albums selling 1 million. Rust in Peace just about hit 1 million.
Yeah.
Like, this says Anthrax didn't belong in the big four.
I don't agree with that, but
yeah.
Like, how do they sell so little?
I don't know. You're right. It's perplexing.
I thought this would be a big selling album.
Yeah, I would agree with you based on the TV appearance, the Grammys, and everything. You would think maybe. Yeah. But okay, but one quick little side thought. If they kept Joey for the next album, maybe they would have reached that apex.
Yeah.
The fact that they switched vocalists, maybe that had kind of derailed things. I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess we'll never really know for sure, right?
Yeah.
But all right, so track number 2 is Blood, which is a pretty cool song. What do you think, Jim?
My favorite on the album.
Okay, cool.
I think this is the longest song on the album, but I mean, man, that cool drum intro with that killer riff. This is a fast. It's got a killer bass line in it. I mean, Frankie's freaking amazing. It's a wicked thrash song. And I love the guitars in this. They're just so heavy, and I love it. I have to admit, it's and like you guys said earlier, a lot of the songs on this album are up over 5 minutes. So it's a pretty, in that sense, compared to previous albums, there's a lot of longer songs, but this song needs that in order to take you on the journey that it does. I think it's a great track. I love it. Favorite song on the album.
Cool. And what about you, Billy?
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I agree with Jim. Like, I love the opening, kind of the drum and intro, the guitar chug. So that's pretty cool. Lots of upfront bass on the track. I think this is some of the more interesting drumming. There's some pretty cool fills, and the bass contributes a lot to me. It slows the pace a little bit, but it has this nice overall groove. Like, I think technically, like, the music's really strong. Great chorus. I really like that time change at 4:40 when it gets super heavy with that guitar chug. Then after that, like, slow down and the chugging, it's like a great musical section into the lead. It's so good. I just think it's an interestingly written song, and getting ready for this podcast, like, I think I went back and played this thing twice in a row.
Cool.
It still like really appeals to me.
Cool. Yeah, I would agree. You made the best point. at 440, but at 439, Joey says, "How do you get the blood off?" And then it goes into
Yeah.
the whole heavy riffing, which is great. I just love the way he handles that lyric through the song. And yeah, Charlie's an amazing drummer, but he's also a guitarist as well, which is makes him unique because Charlie actually writes the majority of the music with Scott, which is quite interesting that the two of them. So you don't often get like a drummer who pretty much like writes a lot of the music, but apparently he does, and he's really good on this track with those drums. They're fantastic. And again, like to back off of time, here they go with a lot more lyrics about like betrayal, hatred, and emotional turmoil. And then the song like conveys how it's easier to hate than love, which is another interesting idea. So you can definitely see that they're not talking about songs like "Make Me Laugh" and from the previous album. So it's interesting that they went in this direction. And some of these lyrics are great. Like I love the whole imagine. Think about living your life. Imagine think about being stabbed with a dull knife. Imagine think how sane you'll be when it's through. I mean, those are great. Those are great. I love all those lyrics. They just seem to work well in the song. But it's a solid song, just like Time. The two of them, Time, Blood, makes sense. And then we get to track number 3, which is my favorite song on the album, Keep It in the Family. And this is a very fascinating song because it's actually based on a true story that happened in Brooklyn in 1989. This black youth, 16-year-old Yusuf Hawkins, was murdered by a bunch of white youths. He was beaten to death. That happened in Brooklyn, and I guess at the time this was a pretty shocking, a pretty brazen attack on like this lone kid who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and had his life taken from him. So I know Scott had said previously that this song or that moment was fairly affecting New York at the time. So the whole song is based around that. So basically, just to make a long story short, the lyrics are about systematic racism. So I think it's a great song. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great song. It's probably my 1B. I couldn't believe it wasn't a single because I think, did they have a video for this?
Not
No,
this song,
just played. I
no.
mean, maybe it was just so popular that I played the hell out of it, but it's got such a good chorus to it. Very
Yeah,
catchy, keep
yeah,
it in the family. And I think it's great. The real world's outside your door. I mean, I can see, I didn't know it was about that, but I definitely knew it was about racism. Musically, it's a heavy track, a little bit darker again, but
yep,
keeping in
yep.
that same vein of song 1 and 2, and it's one of my favorites on the album as well. Probably like 2 and 3, Blood and this would probably be in my top 10 Anthrax songs if I did a list of top 10.
I think the chorus is really good in this
Yeah.
song for me. I like the chorus and just the overall. It's really really heavy. It's really heavy, without being like. I always thought that this song could easily be on Among the Living. It's
Oh
got
yeah.
the. I could easily see it being on Among the Living because it's
Well, it's
got the
got a
same.
chug to it that's kind of
Right.
similar, maybe like a mix between Indians and another song on there. But you could definitely, it's got that kind of chug in there that it
Yeah.
definitely could be on that album.
Yeah. So they didn't really do a lot of songs in this style, but this to
No.
me is like I always think it could have easily been on Among the Living. What do you think, Billy, about it?
Yeah, no, I love it again, right? I mean, it's pretty crazy that the first 3 songs is
Hmm.
21 minutes.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
three are 7 minutes. Like they don't
I
feel
know.
like they're 7 minutes.
No.
No.
So I mean, it's funny. I have this here in front of me, the new
Hyrax.
Hyrax
Oh
album
yeah.
is shorter than the first 3 songs on this album. But
Wow.
yeah, I think it's a great song. Like, that early, like heavy guitar chug, to me, that totally is like Overkill Skull Crusher kind of groove and feel to it in that early part. But then quickly the Anthrax groove comes in and takes over. So it's for a brief period, but I totally hear a Skull Crusher influence there. I like the way they alternate a bit here with with a slower groove and then the heavier parts, and the drums really do a good job of making those heavier parts heavy. Like that guitar solo at 428 is just exceptional. I think it's great. Yeah, like filled with the crunching guitar. I think somebody mentioned that. Yeah, it's just a great song. And again, 7 minutes. And never do I listen to it again this week thinking, oh, Jesus, this should have been 4 minutes or this should
Yeah.
have been five. Like they're just well-written songs. They're great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree. Totally agree. Billy, we're going to stick with you for track 4, In My World. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, for me, it's another great song. I mean, it sounds weird to say this is short at 6:25,
That's true.
but so far it is. I mean, I don't like that spoken word at the
I
beginning.
like it.
Like, what is that?
Oh.
Ian, I assume, has to
Yeah.
get
Scott
that.
Ian, yes.
Yeah, yeah. He has to get his dominant voice in there. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but anyways, but yeah, and then like, yeah, but I love his like marching guitar rhythms, and so like I'm happy with him in the band. I just don't like to listen to him like vocally, but that's me. I mean, this thing is so well. I mean, it's just catchy as hell. There's so many hooks in this thing. The chorus, excellent. Another mid-pace song, but about 4.5. We get a pretty extended solo, longer than we got with the first couple. So that's pretty cool. Like for me, this is a bit like what's it called? Like if you go to Justice, this is like it doesn't remind me of the song, but it has like a feel like Harvester of Sorrow. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fun, like it just wraps itself around you. It's not about being fast, it's not about being technical. It's just this brilliantly written song that just sticks in your head and it's memorable. So I mean, I like it. It's great.
Cool. And you, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's the Married with Children song. So,
Yep, that's right.
I love the fact that he's, it's my life is just one big cell. And I kind of
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, the elongated choruses in it that go like, you can really kind of sing to this, like, faith, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Nothing touches me. I'm a walking razor blade, face to face of death. Fear, face to face of death, and it just keeps going. So that elongated chorus makes it like a real earworm with it. And I believe this was one of the singles, correct?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably a 1C for me. I love it's one of my favorites on there. And again, like Billy said, at 6:20 something, it's kind of one of the shortest of the four. So, but it's it's a really really good song, and I think it's really great. I mean, I like the spoken word at the front of it. I find his voice kind of is way different than Joey's, so it's different, and I think that's kind of cool. But no, I like it a lot.
Yes, it's funny how in later albums Scott really had to like get in on some of the vocals in a weird way without actually singing the
Yeah.
songs. I always thought that was odd, but it is what it is. Technically, it is his band. He is co-leader with Charlie. The two of them pretty much make all the decisions in Anthrax. So makes the most sense that he would,
Yeah.
I guess, veto that over, say, anything that Joey does. But I don't mind it. It's funny when that opening line happens where he's saying about my life's one big cell. You could apply that to Married with Children.
Yeah.
Being in that family was like one big fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's one of those songs where it kind of works for me. It kind of works, and I know during the live sets, and they played this song many times. Scott really gets into it with that whole opening bit where he's just like, okay, so I don't know. Maybe that's his contributions. Maybe he wanted to be a singer. I don't know. It's a little strange. It's a little strange, but it is what it is. All right, so track number 5, Good Luck. Jim, we're going to go to you this time.
Yeah, this is a heavier song. It's darker, definitely a lower vocal register again.
Yes.
I like it. It's your song 5 in here, and so far I haven't hit it like a song yet. There's going to be one coming up I'm not keen on, but this one here I like it. It's pretty cool. It's probably underrated on the album because it's slammed in between a couple of really good ones. Like you've got In My World, then you've got kind of the instrumental afterwards, but then you've got Belly the Beast, which was a huge song. So it kind of has a weird placement where it kind of gets lost a little bit, I think. But I really, really like it. And I like when Joey does his lower vocals. I think it's really cool. And no, it's a great tune.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song, but like this ends side one. Like hands down, it's the weakest song on side
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's just, there's one song coming up that I think is just silly, but other than that song, I think this is the weakest song. Like I enjoy it, I don't skip it, I always listen to it, but it's hard to put my finger on it. I mean, there's something, it's just not as memorable. Like it's not as memorable as the others, right? It's more one time. Like the songwriting is pretty much like one sort of pace. It's one dimension.
It's straightforward. I think what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know, like for an album that was Jesus, this thing must be an hour for sure. I mean, this is one track I probably would have left off, but that's me.
Yeah, it's like 57 minutes, so it's not quite an hour, but you're getting there.
Close.
Yeah. What's that, Jim?
Close. Yeah, close to an hour. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, this song I would agree with you, Billy. I don't mind the song, but it doesn't really stick with me either. And I mean, I guess it's all right. I mean, it has its moments. The solo is decent. I don't mind. I kind of like the last 2 minutes of the song where you get a bit more tempo change, but it drags. I think this song actually drags a bit for me personally.
Yeah, I agree. And at 5 minutes, it tends the longer songs will feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, the song does it. I mean, even though I think they're trying with the lyrics to talk about, being true to yourself and don't let others dictate your life and tell you how to live it. I think it's admirable with what they're trying to say, but the song there's not enough dynamics. Like it's not dynamic enough for me. I don't know.
No, I agree. Yeah.
It's just average. Like, and then it's funny because you get that dip, right? So the first half is over. And then this is when the second half of the album, I think really, really picks up a lot. With the intro to reality, the instrumental, which is like you get the opening bit, which is from the Twilight Zone. It's from an episode called Death's Head.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, it's from the Twilight Zone, and I love that chilling laugh that the actor puts in there at the end. I think that's great. And then you go and it goes right into the song. It's so great. But it's episode 74 of the Twilight Zone, which is great. And that whole episode is about an SS officer who like 15 years later goes back to a concentration camp to kind of like look at the way things have happened. So it's kind of neat. The song itself, though, I kind of like it, but it's not super. I don't know. I don't really put the two together when I think of that episode in the song, but that's just my opinion. What do you think, Jim?
I like it. I think it's a really good instrumental. I think I wrote down movie intro with a question mark because I didn't know, and I knew you'd know.
I did the same thing, Jim.
Yeah. So I was like, I kind of get a bit of a science fiction prog thrash groove with this thing. Okay. And I kind of like that because I'm a huge Voivod fan. Not that this sounds like Voivod, but I kind of like it. And I think, it's a great way to start off this side of the album. And, I'm glad they threw in an instrumental there. It kind of shows off their chops a bit. There's some great the rolling drums and the heavy riffing I really like. I think it's pretty cool, and I think they had a plan. If that's obviously the episode that you're talking about with the intro, they had a plan for it to be sort of kind of sci-fi. So I think they nailed it. I like it.
The harmony was actually done by Charlie. The harmony bit in the beginning. He played the guitar on that, which is interesting.
That's neat.
What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, no, I like it. And actually, I'm kind of shocked here. I was just looking at the hockey scores. I don't know if you guys are paying attention.
I saw it. I know I'm not happy.
No, me.
They're done.
Like 6-0 for the Panthers.
Yeah, they're done, dude. The Leafs are done.
Didn't the Leafs win the last 2 games?
They won the first 2.
The last 2 games?
They won the first 2 and now have lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, so this is 3 in a row. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're done, dude.
Coming back. Anyways, get off of that. I'm just stunned. that it's 6-0. Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, I love this. Like, this is another, we've talked about some of these before. Like, where for me, like, I know this could be a standalone, but for me is the opening to Belly of the Beast.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
they just perfectly flow together. I can't think of track number 7, Belly of the Beast, without Intro to Reality. I mean,
That's
whether
right.
and intended that or not, like, I don't know, but that's the way I interpret it. Yeah, I like this song. It kind of has like a Puppets, Orion type feel to it. Like I love that opening, like guitar, like that haunting, like guitar line. And I don't know if it's guitar or bass or whatever, whoever's playing that, but there's some great, like, not power drumming, but cool, intricate drumming, builds up to the crescendo. Yeah, it's really cool. And it just, like, it's just a perfect flow to Belly of the Beast.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. And like the transition from this into Belly is it's great.
Yeah.
It's seamless. You can't even tell that they're like two separate songs. They sort of the way they slide in together.
Yep.
It's awesome. And Belly is a fantastic song. So, but we'll
Oh
go to you,
yeah.
Billy. We'll stay on you with this one. What do you think of Belly of the Beast?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's another great song. I mean, this album is pretty damn amazing, other
It
than
is.
Block. Uh, like, just brilliant. Like, I love Joey's, like, a dramatic, like, vocal opening, like, lots of feel in his voice. And, like, again, that's why I think his voice is more suited to this style of Anthrax, right? It's like a lighter track, very catchy, melodic, but it still dials up the aggression at times. But for me, Joey's the star here. It's just so memorable. It's really cool. Great guitar lead. And I like it kind of at 320 when that massive guitar chug kicks in and Joey's vocal delivery right there. Yeah, it's just a great song that brings in enough aggression but has plenty of melody, catchiness, and hooks. It's what this album was all about.
Well, I think the one thing about this song, though, is that it's all about the crimes of the Nazis. That's what about the Holocaust. So I guess it's serious enough for them to do that. But just the way the intricate, like how intricate they are with the songs themselves, like Frank's bass lines are
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah.
The chugs are amazing in this, in the second half for me. And what are your thoughts about the song, Jim?
Oh, yeah, this is an amazing song, and the bass line in it's phenomenal. I think this is what highlights the song. But I mean, again, you got another catchy chorus. You know, the catchiness of this with "Welcome to the belly of the beast." I
Yep.
mean, it's
Yep.
just so cool. And no, this is like, I never really thought of this, but breaking down by song, there's so far not a lot of issues with any of the songs on this album. This album's really strong. And, I think, it's kind of weird because it's probably, I mean, so many, like you guys, it's some of your guys' favorite album for them, Billy's it is, and I mean, there's when reading about it, so many fans rave about this album that it's kind of weird that, yeah, like you guys were like we were talking about earlier, why would they get rid of Joey when when they're coming off a momentous album? It's kind of like, okay, whatever. Anyways, but this is another great song, and probably one in my top 15 Anthrax albums of all songs of all time. And it's just like the other one there. Keep It in the Family. You've got such a great chorus with it, and I think that's where their writing has gotten so much better. It's just catchier, but it's still keeping that heaviness, and that bass line just creates kind of a bit of a darker vibe with it.
Jim's
Yeah.
favorite song's coming up next.
Ah, God, no.
Well, guys, I'm going to take the lead here because I like the song myself. I don't mind the placement of the song. I think it works for what they were trying to do. So I'll give you a little bit of background, at least from what I know of the song. So the song wasn't originally going to be on the record. It was intended as a B-side. That's what they want, B-side singles, what they wanted to do with it. Now, the reason why it actually made the album is because they recorded the song and they really, really liked it. And they were thinking about this when they did State of Euphoria, where they had Antisocial, which is a song from the band Trust. and that did really well. And that song got them a lot of praise, and a lot of people love that song. And so the thinking was something what they thought here, and it was proven to be right because it was a hit. The
Yeah.
song actually was a hit. People loved it. I like it because yes, we know it's a Joe Jackson song for sure. 1979, his debut album, Look Sharp. I'm not really into British new wave music, but that's where they took it. And I think they did a really nice job adapting the song into a thrash song. And Frankie is the star of this song. His bass line, wow, it's so great. I totally love it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think I don't mind a little levity in this album because that's still part of their roots. So they throw it here in the song, and it's only 2 minutes. It's not like it's a 5 minute song, and you're going, "My God, what the hell is this garbage?" So I'm okay with it, but obviously I can tell that you guys aren't. But Jim, go for it.
Yeah, I think it has no place in metal. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gatekeeping. No, I just think it's unneeded. I think, yeah, smart on their end. It was a single, and it was massively popular. It got everybody going. It was cool seeing it live, I got to admit. But
The video's cool.
I mean, Antisocial for me, I'll be honest, when I first heard it, thought it was just an Anthrax song because I had no idea
one knew it was a Thrash song.
was.
Yes.
Yeah. So not that I knew right away that Got the Time was a Joe Jackson cover because I never listened to Joe Jackson. But I got to be honest, I just finding it a little on the cheese. Like, I liked what they did with Sound of White Noise when they released it in Canada anyways. And Sam the Record Man, you bought it, you got a free CD single of the Cowboy Song by Thin Lizzy, which,
that's right,
by the way, is a phenomenal cover because I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan. Maybe if I was a Joe Jackson fan, maybe then I would like it, but I don't know. I did listen to the original, and they do thrash it up and make it definitely cooler, but I'm not keen on it. I just think it's another cover that's on an album, which, this album was hitting home run after home run after home run. And this is where it seems like a little bit of a foul for me.
Okay. And Billy?
Yeah, no, I don't like it. It's not my thing. It's
okay.
I would have left it off, but I'll use my time to answer my question earlier about what was the TV show that Anthrax was trying to get on for years before with children. So Joey, Scott said in an interview, it's The Simpsons.
Oh,
they wrote in like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters. They even had the Megaforce people write in. That was their dream.
Wow.
The Simpsons. And then because they were all like, I don't know, like all the letters got there, somehow Married with Children found out they were writing, and that they called Anthrax.
That makes sense. Okay. I was, that would make sense. Simpsons would be the biggest thing. I could see that because they're, based on the levity of the band at the time.
They said they were massive fans.
They had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Ramones, and Smashing Pumpkins on there. And even the one there, Cypress Hill was even on there with Smashing Pumpkins when they went to the Edge Fest or whatever it was. That was cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I remember. Cool. All right.
They would have been cool on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I think I would have liked it.
Scott Ian would have made a perfect Simpsons character, and same with Joey.
Yeah.
And Dan being so, that would be wicked.
Yeah, they all would have. Yeah, it would have been cool. What can you do? Unfortunately. All right, so the next song is, to me, the title is clever. H8 Red. And if you know what H8, it's basically a slang for hate. So when you think about H8 hate, I think it's kind of clever. I like that concept. This is a really hard-hitting song because basically they're talking about people being judged on your appearance and race. So they want to do something very, very hard-hitting. So Billy, what do you think of this song?
Yeah, like I don't mind the song, but this is my sort of weakest song. I mean, forget about the other one, but one of the weaker songs of side two. I still think it's a good track. I enjoy it. It's just not quite as memorable as the others. I kind of like the slower, kind of atmospheric opening, then the
Mhm.
crunching guitars and bass kick in. It's a pretty cool groove to it. I find, and maybe this is just me and my preference. I find the backing vocals are getting too heavy here.
Okay.
Sort of
Yeah.
feels like old Anthrax, and man, that's probably me personally. It does have some pretty cool double bass drumming in here, so I like that. And with the mix, it totally jumps out. Good guitar solo again. All the pieces are good. It's just not quite as memorable as the others, right? So yeah, I guess and nothing against the lyrics. I don't have a clue what they're singing about. I'm just talking musically.
I think this song almost could also be on Among the Living. It's got a very similar vibe to me. I could see it being on it just based on the lyrics and what they're talking about, but it is a good song. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite. I think it's okay. What are your thoughts about the song, Jim?
Oh, I like it. I think it's pretty good. Again, it's got a cool chorus to it with the question, do I
Yes.
hate you? I like that. I think they redeemed themselves after Got the Time. This is a good track. I mean, they all can't be hits off this, but it's not definitely, it would be towards the back end of the catalog on this, but only because there's so much strong material on here. But this is a great, like if this was on State of Euphoria, it probably would be in my top three songs because I just think this is a much stronger album. And
Mm-hmm.
but anyways, I think it's really good. But I think the riffs are great on it. I think it's got more of a crossover vibe, and I think that's why I could see it probably more on Among the Living as well. And it's a bit darker. I don't mind the vocals on it. I think it's I think it's a clever song, and I like. I think the chorus is really good on it. I like it.
Okay. And if you notice, Scott has the end line
Yeah.
different and free again. I don't know. It's like, are you? You're right. It's funny now that we're talking about this. It's almost like, was he actually trying to compete with Joey? Like, did he hate the man that much that he had to throw his own few personal lines in there? It's funny. It's just weird. I don't know why it would have to end off with him saying different and free, but it was interesting thought, anyways. Now, the next song, number 10, One Man Stands, is another interesting track for me because now they wanted to write about the whole incident in China in 1989, Tiananmen Square, with that massacre.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is an interesting, deep kind of song, because the whole, like, from a lyrical approach, it's all about like standing up against oppression and trying to be different and like being a difference maker in the world. So I think this is quite interesting too. It has a really good chorus, which I like. And it's at the beginning, it has this almost very kind of Black Sabbath like
Yeah.
guitar. I just get
Tell me
elements
it
of
doesn't sound like Iron Man
Yeah,
that
totally.
opening.
no. Yeah. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. But I just get a little bit of that. But I think this is a really good song, and I like the way that Joey sings it. What do you think, Billy?
yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, yeah, I like the opening. It's kind of doomy and Black Sabbath, and I totally hear Iron Man, but that quickly goes away. Like that's just a
Yeah.
little bit of an intro. I like the drumming. The early drumming kind of builds intensity, and then the track kind of gets heavier and explodes. Like I agree with you. Joey shines on this thing.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
great.
he's one of the best part. Some great crunching riffs, and again, backing vocals, but very tasteful. Like
Mhm.
they add a lot of value to the song, I think. And one of my favorite parts is a simple part, but at like 3:44, the song does a complete brief pause, then
Yes.
one snare beat, and then the guitar solo kicks in, and I
Yeah.
totally love that part. Like it's really cool the way they did that. Like to me, yeah, I think this has some old school Anthrax, but refined old school Anthrax. Or yeah, I think it's really good. I like it a lot. One of my favorites.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that because I could also see this kind of showing up on Among the Living. It's got a vibe to it maybe it's a bit darker from that album,
Yeah, yeah,
but it does have a vibe to it. And you're right, when you get that 50 seconds and the chug up to the first minute, and Joey's like, the enemy is dead. It's so great. It's like, oh, here we go. And it doesn't stop. It's a really good song. What's your thoughts on it, Jim?
Yeah, I know. This and the last song. I find the album ends on a really sends you off on a
yeah.
real high. I like
Okay.
this is one of my favorites as well. I mean, great track. You guys said it all. But I do find it a little bit darker, but I also find it's a reflection. I think it's more like maybe off of spreading the disease, but
Mm-hmm.
because it was a little bit more. It was I always find Among the Living's a little bit more fun album. Like
Right.
you've got I'm the Law, Indians, that sort of thing. But I get more of a spreading the disease vibe. But it's a great track. One of my favorites on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine too. I like it. And then we go to the last track, which is Discharge. We'll go to you, Jim. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I like this song. I think it's a great way. I think it bookends the album. Really, I'm glad they didn't
Yeah.
put "Got the Time" as the last song. You had mentioned, Ken, that the placement of the cover track is actually pretty smart for me.
Mhm.
That heavy riff intro. It's got heavy drums. Everybody on this, it's a bit more of a heavier song, a pounding song, and it's fast. So it's kind of this one here tied in with One Man Stands, I find a great way to end off the album. Uh, there's some cool lines on here. Suicidal contradiction, clusterfucked, and you load it up. Get off my dick. It's sick. There's some. It's pretty. I think it's a pretty cool song. I like it. It's a great way to end off the album.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely its moments. It's like all about the critique on drug addiction is basically what they're trying to talk about, and how like society is indifferent to people addicted to. So what their point is that they don't like the fact that people who end up becoming drug users are
Mm-hmm.
called losers by societal standards. So I think it's it's a poignant song. I like the concept of it. Lyrically, it's really good. I like when Joy sings like Reservation Hellbound. I love that part of it. It's so great.
Well, I think it's kind of a dirty song in the sense that it gets right down. You brought up, I didn't know it was. I kind of figured it was about drug addiction, so
Mhm.
it kind of gives more of a reflection of the. Not that there's a good part of it, but a lot of bands kind of glamorize it. This definitely
Right,
does.
but they flipped the switch, and we're
Yeah,
making, I guess, being more sympathetic to a person who's
exactly.
drug, which I think is interesting. It just
Yeah,
makes it unique. So, but
definitely.
what do you think, Billy?
Yeah, I think it's great. Like it's a great way to end the album. Exactly what you want, right? End
Yeah.
with like a banger. So yeah, it's great. Like it's and I think Joey sounds great here too, right? Like not
Mhm.
just the mid-pace stuff, like something like this. He's great. Yeah, I mean, you guys talked about a killer chorus. I love it. Even though it's like a super aggressive, a little bit more straightforward song. I mean, it's just that chorus is like infectious. It's really good. So yeah, like a perfect ender.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, yeah, it's a good song to end off the album. I now funny. I think there was a Japanese or is a Japanese release of this album where the next song I saw it somewhere where they do a discharge song right after this, or it's on some other release. I have to look it up, but I thought that was quite interesting. So the song Discharge, and then you do a cover of a Discharge from the band Discharge.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was reading about that earlier. I don't have it, but I thought that was interesting. So okay, well that wraps up the album. Obviously we all seem to like it, so which is good, and it is a really good, solid album. Now, Jim, at the beginning, you were kind of like, "Yeah, I like it, but I don't."
Yeah,
Have we changed
actually,
your
that it's
mind?
"Protest and
Have-
Survive" is by the
right,
Discharge song.
right. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's where I remember it, or was reading about it.
Yeah. No,
But Jim, going back,
I think
so I
it's
just wanted to know
probably
because
it's
did you change
funny
your
because
thought?
I think it probably would move up in my likes. I really like Sound of White Noise so much, but and I really like I think it's just I like the cover versus the cover song. I like and it's not even on the album. It's was a second release but that's just my pick because I like Thin Lizzy. But I think it's a great album. I just like Among the Living is my all time favorite.
Right.
But yeah, this would definitely move up. I think it probably should be ahead of my original pick of Sound of White Noise. I think I was just doing that to be, I don't know, edgy.
Okay, well, that's fine. You have any final thoughts, Billy, before we move on?
No, I mean it's my favorite album, so by the band.
Actually, it's cool. I'm glad we did this because I got to hear your opinion of it, like what you liked about it, because I know you weren't hugely a fan of Among the Living. So it's kind of interesting as a bookend. We heard your thoughts there, and now we get your thoughts here. So it's kind of cool to hear that what you really thought of it. So,
but we have to do a show on Sound of White Noise.
Yeah. I'm all for that. I mean, I love that album too.
Yeah.
Let's schedule that in for episode 341.
Yeah, we'll come back to it though, for sure. It would be the only Bush album that I'd want to talk about.
Yeah.
To be honest, the rest of them, no, not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to talk about them at all.
But you guys wouldn't want to cover the other Anthrax albums before you even go there?
What?
I like
the early stuff?
Euphoria. I do Spreading the Disease.
Spreading the Disease, I'd cover. I love that album.
Yeah.
That album's great too. I'm just saying if we went to a Bush album, it would be the only one.
Yeah.
I would
agree.
I would think. Oh well. Okay, so our last segment today, we were thinking of it's 1990, of course. So I posed the question: what was your favorite concert you would have saw in 1990? And then to sort of like bookend that, what was your favorite album of 1990? And I know 1990 was actually an extremely good year for music. There's a lot of really good stuff that came out. So who wants to go first this time?
I don't mind going.
Go ahead.
Go, Billy.
I don't think I've ever gone first in the last.
Go for it.
So from an album perspective, I mean, lots to choose from.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, right? We did our top 10 album list a while back.
Yeah.
So I can't ignore stuff off of that. So
sure.
I wanted to do something not that we haven't done, but I got to stick with what's the best. So I went with Megadeth, Rust in Peace. It's probably the only time I'll ever bring up a Megadeth album.
No.
At the top. So yeah, I mean, just the best lineup. I mean, Dave and Marty on guitars. I've said it before here. That's the best guitar duo performance in thrash metal history. Nothing will ever touch it, in my opinion. So yeah, complete thrash masterpiece. But a quick shout out, I can't just leave it at that. Forbidden, Twisted into Form, Title, Lights, Camera, Mekong Delta, Dances of Death, another all-time favorite of mine. Sanctuary, Into the Mirror, Black, Death, Spiritual Healing, and Obituary, Cause of Death.
Yeah.
I had to squeeze those in, and it's so we're talking concert of 1990, and this was easy for me because I've talked about this concert before. I don't remember how it came up, but it's probably, it is three bands in their absolute prime that I got to see in Montreal at Le Fafun Electric, November 27, 1990. Sepultura on the Beneath the Remains tour, Obituary largely on the Cause of Death tour, and Sadist on the Swallowed in Black tour.
Nice.
I mean, you're essentially thinking, I mean, that Sepultura show remains in my mind as one of my all-time best concerts I've ever seen. Like for me, and we've talked about this before, that was their peak in my opinion. I know Jim kind of agrees with me too. Others would pick Arise, and I like Arise, but it all started, it never matched the ferociousness of Beneath the Remains. So to see these young guys, Sepultura, still hungry. They were still trying to break. Like in Arise, they were making a living. They weren't quite as hard edged, right? So this is them at their rawest, and I loved it. I mean, Obituary's funny because you said it, Ken, and I'll say it. Like Obituary are as good today as they were back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
hell
may
yeah.
not move quite as fast. Although John probably moves about the same, but they are on bigger stages now than they were
Oh,
back
hell yeah.
in
Yeah,
1990, so they couldn't move too much. But yeah, then don't sleep on Sadis on Swallowed in Black. They were just equally as good at this show. So yeah, to this day, it remains like a top 2 or 3 concert of all time for me.
Cool. Okay. And Jim, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I didn't have as much concert going experience. I thought maybe I saw Iron Maiden with Persistence of Time tour, but that was 91. So what I remember was I got to see Alice Cooper, Thrash with Great White opening. So
I saw that tour.
yeah, I mean, this was the third or second time I saw him on the Constrictor tour, and then I saw him on this. But I mean, a fantastic tour. Thrash was such a commercially successful album, and Great White was doing their, I think, Twice Shy tour. And you know, the interesting thing about Great White is compared to, I don't even consider them a hair band. For me, I consider them like an LA Guns, a little bit more of a sleaze rock, sleaze metal band. So I'll allow that. But they put on a great show. You know, they had a whole host of hits. An early Great White from like Shot in the Dark, and their self-titled album, and Once Bitten, and Twice Shy. And even like after that, I mean, Psycho City, Hooked. There was some great albums in there. Some of them were a little underrated, but that was a great show. So I decided to go a little different than Billy. Obviously, the Megadeth album would be my favorite, but I'm going to go with Pantera's Cowboys from Hell. Huge Pantera fan, but like Billy, like you said it all, that 1990, especially, like, he had just so many albums that it's hard to, God, we could have done a top 10 from 1990. And I think we probably have done that.
Yeah, we might have. I don't remember.
So Cowboys from Hell, I mean, Cemetery Gates is not only one of my favorite Pantera songs, but one of my favorite songs all time. You know, and the title track Cowboys is wicked. Just a great album. I'm still a huge Pantera fan, and would love to see them even in the lineup they are now. I mean, would be amazing. So, but those are my picks.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about the Alice Cooper tour. I saw that too. I was going to put that on there. Then I realized I did see Metallica in 1990. This
Really?
was like June 29th at C&E Stadium. They did it was 4 bands, which was weird because it was Aerosmith, Metallica, Warrant, and Black Rose, which is kind of unique. And I remember this show because a lot of my buddies were arguing that Metallica should go on last and Aerosmith should go on second. Although ultimately what ended up happening is Aerosmith closed the show, which is kind of funny. But so this is on the heels of Damaged Justice. So they did this tour. And it was cool. So that basically they play stuff on the first 4 albums, which was great. So some of it they played on Damaged Justice, but you gotta hear like some of the stuff like Whiplash, I Am Evil, stuff like that. For Whom the Bell Tolls, they played. Yeah, it was great. It was a really good show. I vaguely remember. I don't even remember much of like Black Crowes, although I didn't mind.
A huge Black Crowes fan.
Yeah, they had Shake Your Moneymaker when they saw that time, and I actually do like that album. It's a pretty solid album.
Yeah.
Wasn't a Warrant fan, so I'm blanking on Warrant. I don't even remember much of it, but I just remember Metallica, and I just remember the whole argument, like, why is Aerosmith going on last? And we're all arguing.
I heard that Warrant actually is fairly heavy and puts on a good live show compared to their albums.
They probably did, Jim, but I'll be honest, I have no memory of it.
You probably went for a beer.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't remember. I just remember a buddy of mine he bought a pizza slice, and this drunk came up to him and said, "I'll give you $20 for your slice." David Slice away. It's like I just remember shit like that. There were a lot of drunk people on that show, but because like seeing Stadium was an outdoor stadium, so we were outside, and it was crazy. But I was a good show. I don't remember much of Aerosmith, but I do remember the argument with Metallica that they should have won on lap. But
I guess
that was
that makes sense, though. No, like I would agree. I much prefer Metallica, but like, wasn't Anthrax like they at that time they would have had all those massive like hits in the '80s that totally like they were selling more records than Metallica by far.
Yeah.
Also, too, Metallica liked Aerosmith back in the day. They covered "Mama Said" in some of their songs.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember why the tour was done. It's kind of weird because it's like, okay, it's interesting for a tour, but two very different bands.
And Black Crow was more like Aerosmith,
Well, I guess at the time I guess it's because Aerosmith was the bigger name at the time. At the time, they were the bigger name because Metallica is coming off Justice. But I mean, I would still think at the end of the day, people are going to be drawn to Aerosmith, but I just remember my buddies and I, we were always arguing Metallica should have won on last, but it is what it is.
So what was it? Warrant, Black Crow.
So it was Black Crowes first, then Warrant, then Metallica, and then Aerosmith.
Wow.
So yeah. I almost forgot about that tour, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I saw that.
Well, Warrant had that big 80s hit with Heaven. And Sometimes She Cries. So those little sappy ballads, all the women would love that. So
true. Very, very true. Very true.
Although I catch myself singing Heaven all the time. No, I don't.
I hope not, Jim.
Not at all.
Good man. But like Billy, I mean, I have to go. We did our 1990 list, and my number one pick was, of course, it was Anthrax. So I have to go with that. That was my number one pick. But like Billy as well, like 1990, beyond that it's a great year. I mean, there was Destruction, Crack Brain, which is one of my favorite Destruction albums. I mean, and Spiritual Healing, a classic. Obituary, like we can go on and on. Like there are so many really, really good albums. It was a good year. Probably the last really good year of metal for like thrash and death metal bands. But that's my pick. So I'm sticking with that.
We even had Slayer.
Yep, Slayer. Yeah, Jesus. Yes. I forgot about that. Megadeth. I mean, like it was just such a huge year when you think about it.
Alice in Chains Facelift. I love Alice in Chains. Huge.
Yeah, Facelift was all right. I mean, I don't know if I was a huge fan of that album in particular, but it was all right. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, it was huge. There were a lot of really huge bands that year. So, great year.
And also, too, I think, Billy, did you bring up Left Hand Path?
I didn't today, but I did on another episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in June. That's
my
right.
top 5 death metal albums.
Another one. Yeah, that's a great album.
Well, I've always said 1980. I mean, for me, 1989 is the best year in metal, and 1990 is like second for me. I know a lot of people like 87, 88, but
no, I think you're right, Billy. I think 89, 90 are the pinnacle for like death and thrash albums that came out that time. You're right. That's so true. Okay, so that's our picks for the segment on this one. In particular, 1990, what a year. Now, we do have an interesting album for next week, and of course, Jim is in the captain's chair. Jim,
I don't know if I know it. Like, I don't remember if he said, that's what it... Oh, okay.
And you brought it up earlier.
I forgot you mentioned that. Okay.
Yeah. Although now I want to bring up Sound of White Noise. No. We'll do 2 Anthrax back to back. No,
I'm going to be sick next week. I can feel the cold coming on.
It's Sepultura Arise, which is, I mean, I agree with Billy, but this is a massive album. I love this album. This is the album that sent them into the stratosphere, and I mean, I can't wait to talk about it.
I mean, I know everyone talks about Beneath the Remains as their favorite, and it is mine too, but I just love that. Arise is such a great album.
Yeah.
I love Arise. That album cover art, so great. So damn great.
Yeah.
Okay, boys. So I guess that'll wrap up this episode We'll be back next week. But we do apologize for the technical glitch last week, but I was without a computer, so it kind of screwed everything up. But I'm up and running. We're up and running on the podcast. This will be posted on Saturday morning, so you'll be able to check us out. And then we will be back next week with Jim and Sepultura. So good night, guys.
Good night.
Cool. Night.